Hi, this is Natalie with the Fifth Journey. I have a lot going on right here, so let me get started with what we're going to do. I'm going to do another Winter Woods Christmassy type scent, and what had happened is I was actually not planning on making this, but I did a not funnel, but a colander pour into a larger slab mold, and the recipe I'd used was for my loaves, and it wasn't for that, so I actually ended up with way too much batter. And so I trimmed things up and I ended up with extra little bits that I cut up. And what I'm going to do now is using actually the recipe that's supposed to be for the slab, so it's a little bit smaller recipe. I'm going to make that, mix this in, and then pour it into there. So I have, I'm going to do a couple different stages. The fragrance I'm using, when I had made this, I mixed two different Winter Woods type scents together. One of them did discolor, one of them did not. So I have enough of this one, which is the Santa Spruce, that does discolor to a light brown. I'm going to use that in here, so I have enough of this to finish out this batch of soap. My plan is to bring this to just, I'm not even going to mix it, I'm just going to whisk it together, and then I'll pour some in here, add some of the, about half of the fragrance oil to this, and that'll help discolor it. So then I'll pour it equally into these two, pour it into the molds at an angle, let it set up a little bit, and then come back and emulsify the rest. And I have some titanium dioxide that I'll put in without this, so that the other half of this I'll put in afterwards. And I've got some kind of a dark Christmassy red. This is actually red mica and Aussie Red Clay that makes a good red, and then I have an evergreen mica that I'm going to use as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to get stuff out of the way, but I have my lye cooled down, my oils heated up, and let's keep our fingers crossed that everything goes as planned. So we will see you again, or I'll come back. I'll fast forward through all of this, and then we'll come back when it is time to cut, and I'll explain any issues or anything. When I did this one the other day, which you actually won't see the video as quickly together as when I made this, because I actually made this one a couple days ago, it did accelerate a little bit. So I'm hoping that by splitting things up that I can use that to my advantage, but you never know. We're just gonna see how it goes and get started with it. I'm getting ready to cut the second batch of the Winter Christmas Woods scented soap. And this one, I did 2 batches of soap that day, and the other batch that I did, using same recipe, but it was ready to cut the same day, and this one is still really soft, and it's been 2-3 days. So hopefully everything is a-okay on the inside, and we'll get some pretty swirls in there. So this one, you have those little pieces in there that I had used from the strainer pour soap when I had basically used the wrong size recipe and ended up with extra pieces of soap, which is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I did, and I'm holding it like this because it's still really soft. I don't want to pinch it. I did go ahead and trim up the top. So I'm going to cut these and then we'll pause or come back at the end and see how it looks. These turned out really cool. Every single one, like always, is different. And that first loaf I did has a little bit thicker of the thicker sections of color. And the second one I just cut, there's a lot more of the swirls going on. So I'm really happy with how these turned out. Now I'm going to go back to that first loaf I cut because you can see this a little bit better. So here is the line going across where I did the angle. And then I put the embeds in, and then if you can see, it's a little bit different color. So this is kind of a little bit tanner there, and then there's some obvious yellow. Well, actually, I don't know if it's obvious to you guys, but there is some yellow in there that I can see. So this, there should be some discoloration to separate these two out more, and we'll just have to kind of wait to see what the cure looks like. But hopefully you can see that line right there where it's a lot more yellow up here, and then more of a tan down here. So I'm going to go ahead, trim these up, and stamp them. We'll come back for a final look.